Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy, and this is your general reading for the first half of October 2019. This reading is for the air sign of Gemini, our lovely twins, for the first half of October 2019. This is for Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, Gemini Rising, or if your Venus is in Gemini, or if you're cross-watching for a Gemini. But as most of you know, general readings always resonate a little differently for everybody watching. So if you know all of your signs, Sun, Rising, Moon sign, Venus sign, watch them all for additional clarification. So thanks for joining us here today. Thanks for taking the time to tune in. For those of you who send in all of your support, feedback, comments, likes, shares, and subscribes, thank you so much. I appreciate all of the time and energy. And always a big note of gratitude to all of my clients out there for keeping me so continuously busy with personal readings. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you, and I'm so grateful that so many of you keep returning time and time again. If any of you are interested in scheduling a personal reading with me, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. You can email me directly, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I can usually respond to initial inquiries within the same day or the first 24 hours with more info. And scheduling is done in a pretty timely fashion too. I work very diligently with other people's schedules and my own to get readings set up as quickly as possible. I'm quite blessed to be able to do readings full-time, 6 days a week. It is all that I do. So email me if you're interested and we'll set something up for you. Okay, let's move right into this reading. Gemini, our beloved twins, for the first half of October 2019. Okay, Gemini, we begin with the Sun. What a great way to begin. Followed by the Six of Wands. Fantastic. Next to that, we have the Nine of Wands. Followed by the Empress. And from the bottom of the deck, overall energy for the first half of October is the Queen of Swords, your energy. For some of you, it might be another air sign person that is whose presence or energy is significant or influential or impactful during the first half of October. Queen of Swords, Swords is air energy, so this is Aquarius, Gemini, Libra energy, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or Venus sign. But for many of you, it's you showing up as yourself, the Queen of Swords. When someone shows up as a king or queen in their own elemental sign, it just represents that you are fully living and in control of, the character traits that are inherent to your suit, which is what kings and queens represent. They represent individuals who have, when they represent actual people, because sometimes court cards just represent the energy. It represents kings and queens are people who are at the top of their game. They've mastered their suit, meaning that the character traits which are inherent to their suit, it's water energy, air energy, mental energy. Kings and queens are people who have reached a place of self-mastery, self-control, self-discipline, with the character traits inherent to them. They've learned how to make their inherent natural character traits work for them through the life they've already lived and all the experiences that you've already been through. So the Queen of Swords, this is air energy, and air energy is energy of the mind. This is about our thoughts, words, ideas, belief systems, ideologies, because that shapes the way that we see the world and how we communicate our own words and our ideas. So the energy of Swords, air energy, it's all about what goes on up in our heads. It's also representative of truth, higher education and learning, wisdom, insight, clarity, everything up here. So the Queen of Swords is somebody probably quite intelligent, if not well educated to boot. This is somebody who knows how to communicate very well. She's very thoughtful because she comes from a place first of mind, not from emotion. This is somebody who, it doesn't mean she doesn't feel emotion, she does just as deeply as anybody, but this is somebody who doesn't let emotions rule her, and she rarely ever makes decisions based purely on emotional, spontaneous emotion or feelings. She considers the truth and the practicality, and she's learned how to do that, likely through some very difficult and painful experiences in her life, because she's had a road already, quite a road behind her, and some of it has not been easy or challenging, and she's learned a lot in her life, and she applies that now. You can see the light that she's crowned with and the light on her sword. This is the light of truth, of insight, of clarity. This is somebody who does not tend to sugarcoat things. Sometimes she can come across as a bit perhaps aloof or cold, intentionally or unintentionally. It's just her experiences which have led her to that. On a bad day, or the Queen of Swords may sometimes have a challenge of being a bit too cynical or jaded based on her experiences. She can definitely see BS coming a mile away. She has very little patience for it. She does still have that nurturing energy showing up as a queen, but she knows how to temper it with truth, reality, and wisdom as well. So that you kind of standing in your own. Again, for some of you, it might be somebody else who manifests like this in your life who's significant in the first half of October. It's a beautiful reading. We have the Sun and the Six of Wands here. The Sun is a beautiful card. It is, in my opinion, the most powerfully positive major arcana card in the tarot in its ability to affect all the other cards in a spread. All the cards in a spread interact with each other, but the Sun has a very beneficial and positive effect. It boosts all the positive energy that shows up in surrounding cards, and it can lessen challenging energy, because what happens when the Sun comes out? It shines over everything. It brings illumination, clarity, because there's no real shadows when the Sun comes out and shines. It banishes the darkness. It banishes, the shadows. So it can bring illumination and clarity. And there's also an uplifting of energy. Darkness into light, winter into spring, sickness into health energy. It's kind of like, kind of a sigh of relief. It can represent restrictive energies. Maybe previously restrictive energies loosing up. If you've been feeling tired, worn out, exhausted, angry, depressed, finances have been tight, it represents kind of an uplifting of that energy, a loosening up of restrictive energies. Now, it's clear, so definitely something is coming in that's shining over everything and kind of giving you a bit of a boost. Now, what clarifies the Sun is the Six of Wands. So here we have fire energy. Fire is the element which governs the suit of wands. This fire energy it's all about action, change, movement, power. It's usually forward moving or about things that we're working towards. Artistic, creative energy, sometimes career energy as well. The Six of Wands is a card of victory and triumph, and success after a difficult battle. This is the Knight writing back in, the person who went off to achieve something, accomplish something. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of struggles, but he or she has been victorious, and they're writing back in victorious. And they're also receiving recognition and praise from the crowd as well. Sometimes this can represent being publicly recognized, for something, receiving some kind of bonus, praise, award, or even just being in the public eye. It definitely represents kind of being out there and having people look at you, and you're feeling really, really good about something that's come in or something that you've just accomplished. There's definitely a sort of a victorious, winning sort of feeling here. Next, we have the Nine of Wands and the Empress. The Nine of Wands is often the push-through card. So tends represent cycle completion, or the circle, kind of something coming full circle, so that you can either move on away from something, or everything has just kind of come together and you're just kind of transitioning into a next phase of something. So the 9 represents being very close to something coming to an end or coming full circle. The 9 of Wands can represent, though, feeling kind of discouraged. There may be, maybe just when he thought this soldier, what do soldiers do? They fight battles, or they work through things, they struggle through things. And so this soldier wants to be done. Perhaps you thought you were done with something, or something was kind of coming to a fruition point. This grouping of wands behind him can represent perhaps an unexpected problem or obstacle or challenge or delay that's cropped up, and he's taken a step back, a few steps back, and he's sunk down to his knees going, oh, I'm discouraged, I'm depressed, how do I get through this? I thought I was close to being done with this, or close to moving on. Do I go on? How do I go on? Should I give up? Maybe feeling like giving up. But because you're so close, this card is often, not always, but often represents pushing through. It's kind of like the 11th hour, it's darkest before the dawn kind of card. So it's about pushing through perhaps some unexpected thing that has cropped up at the last minute when you didn't expect it. Now, what clarifies the Nine of Wands is the Empress. So this is the card of fertility, of new beginnings. The Empress is a card literally of, it could for some of you be literal fertility, you know, conceiving, pregnancy. Perhaps you were starting a family or wanting to start a family or wanting to add to your family. Maybe there was, you know, something that came up, maybe some physical issue or medical issue that needed to be dealt with. But the Empress represents fertility, which means what? Which means that the time is right, the season is right, the soil is right. It's time to plant those seeds. It's not a card of completion. The Empress represents that the time is right to plant the seeds for whatever it is that you're planning, you're hoping, you're wanting to manifest. This is about the time being right to do that initial footwork, to put that seed in the soil and cover it up and take care of it until you start seeing it grow, and then we take care of it in a different way. So when the Empress shows up, it's usually a good sign, the go light, the green light for beginning new things, new relationships, new projects, new jobs, going somewhere. It's also about self-nurturing. She's the traditional earth mother of the tarot, and she kind of combines both the sensual, tangible energies of the world we live in and the unseen spiritual energies as well. She is the perfect mate to the Emperor and kind of softens up his very hard defined edges sometimes. So it can be about, you know, taking some time out to be good for yourself, to be good to yourself, like doing some nice things for yourself, manis, patties, hair, massage, you know, whatever. So it looks like, it almost looks like a start and stop sort of energy, Gemini. It looks like maybe you guys have been working on something or waiting for something, and it's like you got news or something, it's all done, everything's coming together, wow, and this is great and wonderful, and then maybe something cropped up. And because we have the Empress clarifying the Nine of Wands here, it could be that you were ready to start a new project, but something maybe cropped up at the last minute and you're like, oh my gosh, I've already put in all this work, or I've been waiting all this time, or I thought everything was dealt with, and now there's this thing. Should I just give up? I'm tired. I don't feel like I feel like you just need whatever this, again, obstacle, challenge, delay, hurdle that's cropped up. It's going to be different in a general reading because there's so many of you watching. But I feel like for most of you that Spirit is saying, look, just push through. It's just this one last thing you've got to get through so that you can start this new beginning, so that you can have this new beginning. Just push through. You are so close. It's kind of like you thought everything was wrapped up so you could start something new, and it turns out there's just one last thing you have to deal with. So I feel like most of you should just kind of push through and deal with it. Let's pull some advice or guidance for you. Advice, guidance for Gemini for the first half of October. I feel like some of you, I mean, this could be love or personal relationships, but I feel like for many of you, it falls under the umbrella of like work, career, maybe projects of some kind. Not like a love romance sort of thing, although, you know, there might be other people, of course, involved in it. But I feel like it might be for work or a project. And again, I'm getting a sense of travel for someone. Maybe you have to travel to do this. Maybe you have to travel and you didn't think you had to travel. There's like some extra work you have to put into this that you weren't anticipating. And some of you, that might involve travel or communication, maybe communication around travel. It's a message I'm getting for someone. All right, advice and guidance for Gemini. Judgment and the Eight of Wands. Here's your travel and communication card. So Judgment, sometimes a second chance card. It represents that you have an opportunity here which likely will either not come around again or not come around for a long time. There's an air of finality about Judgment, meaning that whatever you choose, whatever you decide, whatever you do in this situation moving forward, that's going to be the reality that you have to live with for the next significant period of time. So choose wisely. If it represents a second chance or a second shot at something, the implication is that you might want to do it a different way perhaps than you did it before if it didn't work the first time. But it does represent that it's a pretty important, profound opportunity to make a decision or take action on something that's not going to come around again. So, you know, and you're accountable for the decisions that you make. And the Eight of Wands is a card, you know, it's fire energy, so it's all about change and movement, usually forward movement. It's a card that often references traveling. Again, some of you might be traveling for this, needing to travel, having lots of conversations around this. Maybe you didn't anticipate having to put in extra work into this. You know, maybe you thought everything was all ready. Maybe you didn't know that you had to travel or put in a lot more work or more communication. But it is. But you're still very close to being through it. You just need to push through this last bit. And Spirit is saying you can take this opportunity or not take the opportunity or not push through. But the next significant portion of your life, or this part of your life, whatever area of your life this resonates in, this is an opportunity here. So if you don't take it now, it's probably not going to come back around again, or not for a long time. So free will zone, as I always say. So Gemini, that is your reading for the first half of October 2019. I hope you found it helpful. If this reading resonated for you, or if any of them do, and you'd like to take a look and explore something a little deeper and set up a personal reading, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. You can email me at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I offer a wide variety of readings in all areas of life: love and romance, relationship compatibility, career, work and finance, investment readings, gift readings for friends, family, loved ones, 6 and 12-month overviews, a variety of them. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also provided by clicking on the description link below. Or you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage and click on the About button there. So I will see you all again, Gemini, in a couple of weeks for the October 2019 mid-month readings. Until then, as I always say and I always mean, I wish you much love, joy, peace, and happiness, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.